Hi, James.
Hi, Bria.
Sick. Let's jump right into what we're talking about today.
So recently, we've all heard of the tragic incident that happened in Atlanta that took the lives of eight members of our community, specifically six Asian women. And I think a lot of this sort of originates back to like the deep-rooted racism in our country. And today we're just going to talk about a little bit of sort of the Black and Asian solidarity in America and how we as a community need to unite against the white systemic oppression that's happening in America.
I think we can first touch on how white people, specifically white men, are viewed when they take out aggression on POC, and how POC are perceived when we do it to each other. The guy who did the shootings in Atlanta, how he was given the excuse of having like a bad day or being was it a sex addict in these crimes when POC never get that benefit of a doubt.
Yeah, I definitely see where that's coming from. I see a lot more on the news and media that, especially even law enforcement and even our justice system, they give a lot more empathy and the humanity to the perpetrators of white perpetrators rather than perpetrators of people of color. Even the officer talked about how this white person had a bad day rather than just saying that this person committed an act that was atrocious.
I think we could even go deeper and say the way that the victims of these crimes, white perpetrated crimes, if they are people of color, they get way less sympathy than if it was a white person that was the victim of a crime. Artificial division that's created between POC communities I think it's become way more noticeable, and it's very clear like where it's happening these days. These recent hate crimes against the Asian community, you see the way that Black people are sort of painted as the only aggressor or like the foremost aggressor in these situations, and how there's now animosity between Black and Asian communities. And there's always kind of been that tension, but I feel like right now is a great time to see how highlighted it is and how clear cut it is. I feel like white supremacy like maintains its power by like the divide and conquer method. If you keep these communities separate, there's no way they can rise up against you because they're too busy fighting each other.
Even like within Black communities, our system sort of paints the picture that they're violent criminals, where that's clearly a myth, where it's used as a artificial sort of a way to sort of divide our communities apart. But I think especially within what happened in the last year and even this year, I think it's more than important to come together rather than being divided by these ideas that foster division.
The United States government has refused to take like responsibility for the most part for like the way people's lives have been derailed by the coronavirus and how long quarantine has lasted, by trying to pin it on two groups, specifically Asian people, and then kind of making an antagonist out of the Black community as well.
I think that's a great example to what I'm sort of about to talk about. We share common adversities, we share common obstacles within the US system that's fostered by racism and hate. So by uniting, I think it's much more easier to combat the system of oppression.
And just to kind of close out a little bit, I feel like it's the responsibility of a new generation to derail these myths that are made about our communities, this weird division that's always been created to keep us apart. Even me and you having this conversation right now, we're like changing the way our communities interact with each other, the way we see each other, the lens that we view each other with. And I feel like this is what we're doing right now is a great and really important conversation, a great step forward.
There still is division among Asian community and the Black community and a very high stigma between each other. But I think having these conversations will allow us to connect and share our experiences, opening up to each other, learning and listening to others people's experiences is really beneficial, even especially as a new generation, forging the way for social justice to sort of cultivate in our society.
All right. I think that was pretty
good.
Wow.
Okay. So